Yesterday I had an opportunity to visit the Arlington Museum of Art to see an exhibition titled Vivian Maier, Lost and Found, Street Photography 1950 to 1970. I want to talk about that exhibition in this video because I was really genuinely impressed with this. I thought it was simply outstanding. In fact, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at all, I believe it runs until August 21st, 2016. I highly recommend you check out this exhibition. It is fantastic. Arlington is a city that sits between Dallas and Fort Worth, and they have a really nice art museum there that's hosting the exhibition. Pretty much the entire ground level, the atrium, is filled with prints, as well as about 3.5 rooms upstairs. And the show consists of 50 silver gelatin prints that are organized thematically by subjects. So you have photos of children, self-portraits, location-based work, etc. Locations involved are Chicago, New York City, and one of my favorite images, which is the woman in the white dress walking towards the car, was shot in Florida. And I have been pretty critical of the people who handle Miss Maier's work in the past for the print quality, among other things, but I just don't think that the first book was very well done, the first edition anyway, and some of the early print work was not up to par. But I have to say that the print work in this show is absolutely outstanding. And I assume the printing was done by Steve Rifkin, who is listed on the Vivian Maier website, but the cards on all the images just simply tell you the date it was shot and say printed later. And most of you, if you're familiar with Vivian Maier's work, you're probably going to be familiar with most of the images, and you've probably seen them online, but to go see them printed on paper gives them a three-dimensional quality as their objects, and they really are beautiful and they really are worth seeing. And if you're not familiar with Vivian Maier at all, she has a very interesting story. During her lifetime, she worked as a nanny, took pictures as a hobbyist, and was not known as a photographer at all until around the time of her death, when she died in 2009. About 2008, there were several collectors who discovered her work by purchasing negatives that were sold through an auction. And the rest is history, so to speak. And one thing that's impressive about Vivian Maier is that she has been a phenomenon in photography that we have never seen in the history of photography. There are people interested in her work and buying prints who have never bought prints before or been interested in photography that much. And it's been a really interesting phenomenon to see. And I did a video on Vivian Maier about 2 years ago, and I was pretty critical about the way that her work was being handled. There's really no estate, so to speak, and so there's 3 collectors that deal in her work and the way it was being curated and dealt with. And I was critical of that, and a lot of people have accused me of saying, oh, you just hate Vivian Maier, which is not the case at all. I have always been impressed with her work. I think she was an outstanding photographer. She had a wonderful eye for composition. All of the images in this show are all black and white, square format, so they were done on her Rolleiflex, and she had a wonderful approach to square format, to composition, to being able to capture human emotion. She was a street photographer, so being able to get that snapshot, that spur of the moment, that the decisive moment, as Cartier-Bresson used to say, really is outstanding. And she left an enormous amount of work behind. I mean, there's like 15,000 images, I think, and it really is impressive. And I do think she was a fabulous photographer, but it's interesting because she wasn't known during her lifetime, and so when you go to one of these shows, a lot of times the prints have been done since her death. In fact, all of the little title cards on the images, they give you the date that the image was shot, and they just say printed later. And so the quality can vary, and it's interesting to kind of see that with photographers like that. And I have to say that this show is absolutely outstanding. Also on view in Dallas right now, if you're in the area, is probably one of the best photography shows that I've ever seen, which is the Irving Penn Beyond Beauty show that's going on at the Dallas Museum of Art. And I have covered that exhibition pretty extensively on videos that I've done recently, and so I will link to some of those in the show description as well. So if you're in the area, I think they're just 2 amazing photography exhibitions that should not be missed. And I think it's important to get out and see work like this, and see it printed, and see it on the wall, and see it displayed, and how it's hung. There's just something really important about that, and I'm obviously a huge proponent of exhibitions and going to galleries in general, and there are 2 fantastic shows going on in Dallas right now. I will also link up on the Vivian Maier website. You can see there is another exhibition going on as well, and this is going to travel to other places as well, so you can see if it's going to be in a city near you if you're not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to The Art of Photography so you'll always be up to date on all the videos I do. Until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Later.